good afternoon. Today, I will be speaking about artificial intelligence and its use in detecting diabetic retinopathy. I'd like to start with a story. This is Rohan, and Rohan has had type 2 diabetes for the last 10 years. So last week, Rohan visited his doctor for his regular diabetes checkup. And the doctor said, Rohan, look, you've had type 2 diabetes for 10 years now. You need to get your eyes checked. You're at risk for diabetic retinopathy. Please go immediately. Rohan is a good patient, and Rohan told the doctor, yes, doctor, I will go tomorrow. Rohan did not go. He thought to himself, oh, I have to book another appointment at a separate doctor. I have to travel in traffic, and very bad traffic in India. I have to get my eyes dilated when I go there, and then I won't be able to drive back. Anyway, my eyes seem fine. My vision is normal. Why should I go? Rohan at first was right. He had no symptoms. This was his retina. Everything was very clear. But after some time, he developed some form of diabetic retinopathy. The retina started seeing damage. There was still no symptoms. After that, there was further damage to the retina, and there was still no symptoms. And then there was sudden and complete vision loss, and it was too late to do anything about it. He immediately rushed to the eye doctor and said, doctor, I can't see from my right eye. Can you please help me? And the eye doctor told him, I'm sorry, it is too late now. You should have gotten your eyes checked when you were previously referred. Rohan is like 70% of people with diabetes. They don't go to the eye doctor when they're referred to. So what is the solution to this problem? The solution is that the DR screening must be brought closer to the patient. It must be done by the diabetes doctor or at the point of primary care. There are 73 million people with diabetes in India, and there are 400 plus million people globally with diabetes. 33% of them already have some form of diabetic retinopathy or will develop it. And 10% of them will suffer vision loss. Now, in India, there are actually 5,000 retina specialists, and there are 120,000 doctors treating diabetes, either endocrinologists, physicians, or primary care. This means that if the physician does not screen for DR, the patient will go blind. But screening is difficult. It's not easy. Using an ophthalmoscope is not easy. It requires a lot of training, and you can make mistakes. The fundus cameras that are also available are big, bulky, expensive. And even then, you'll need an eye doctor to diagnose or interpret the fundus image. If you use telemedicine, it will require internet, and it can also be very time consuming. So the solution to this problem is through hardware and software innovation. And I'd like to present one such solution today. It's a solution that does not require dilatation. It is handheld and completely portable, and it is cost effective and affordable. It uses AI to assist image capture and also automatically interpret the image of the retina. It does so without any internet connection and without any human readers required. It can be used by anyone. So this is a video I've got to present today. There's no audio. It's a simple demonstration of this handheld device, which is used to image a patient here and capture an image of the retina. The device automatically captures an image when the retina is in view. Once that's done, you can actually select the previously captured images and quickly generate an AI report. An AI will automatically assess the images for quality and then check for DR. And a report is generated in less than 10 seconds. In this case, there was no signs of DR detected. If DR is detected, the report looks like the one here on the left. where aside from also highlighting that DR is detected, it tells you where the lesions are detected in the photo of the retina. It also tells you whether an image is of low quality or is acceptable for grading. We have validated this device with thousands of patients in the past 2-3 years. Our first study was actually with Dr. Mohan in Chennai, and we did a study on 300 patients, and we saw that the sensitivity for this device was 96.6% in detecting referable diabetic retinopathy. And in detecting severe and proliferative diabetic retinopathy, the sensitivity was 100%. The specificity for the device was 89.6%. We did another study with 304 patients with Dicon Hospital in Bangalore. And here we saw that the sensitivity for referable DR was 98.84%. And sensitivity for sight-threatening DR was 100%. This was actually presented at ATTD in Berlin 2 years ago, and it was also published in BMJ, British Medical Journal, last year. We also did another study which evaluated the device with 900 patients in a clinical setting, and it is the largest study evaluating the performance of an offline AI using non-mydriatic retinal imaging. And this was presented in ADA in 2019 as well. The results of that study showed a sensitivity of 93% and a specificity of 92.5% for referable DR. And for sight-threatening DR, it actually showed a specificity of 98.7%. We also then took the device to another place where we wanted to evaluate this in a community screening setting. So in the Bombay Municipality Corporation, we actually undertook a screening from people who were living in Dharavi, who did not have access to proper medical care. And this was done with Aditya Jyot Eye Hospital in Bombay. This was actually an interesting study because we had no medical personnel involved in using the device or providing a diagnosis, except for the purposes of verifying the results of the AI. So we screened 231 individuals with diabetes, and we saw that the sensitivity for referable DR was 100%, and the specificity was 88.4%. This was also published in JAMA Ophthalmology in 2019, and it was the 5th most cited paper in JAMA Ophthalmology in 2019. It also had an invited commentary from Johns Hopkins, where Dr. Alvin Liu, who's an ophthalmologist at Johns Hopkins, said that it was a paradigm-shifting approach to DR screening, and it could greatly benefit both developing and developed countries where access to care is limited. Interestingly, Kiran Majumdar-Shaw also took an interest in this device, and she also tweeted about it. However, even with all of this, these are still very early steps. There are still many challenges faced when we try to deploy this in a clinical setting at scale. Now, one of the biggest challenges we do face is that habits are hard to change. Even with a validated device that solves many of the problems, oftentimes doctors can be very busy with OPDs and just lack familiarity with eye care, which is something that is a harder mindset shift to change. We also sometimes see that there's a very do-it-yourself approach, or as they say, jugaad, where many times untrained personnel tend to start diagnosing retinopathy themselves, even if they don't have the qualifications or experience in doing so. And of course, most recently, we've had the COVID-19 pandemic with lockdowns, low patient loads in clinics, and the prioritization of COVID, understandably so. It does, however, mean that other diseases sometimes can take a backseat, including diabetes and diabetic retinopathy. So what are the next steps from here? Now, I think the first step is always continued awareness and deployment. As of today, there is no large-scale deployment of AI-based diabetic screening yet anywhere in the world. So that is something that we need to keep creating awareness about and working on deployment. Then after that, aside from just detecting the presence or absence of diabetic retinopathy, it would be good if an AI can also grade the severity of DR or stage it. Is it mild? Is it moderate? Is it severe? Is it proliferative? This way, we can also separate patients that require urgent referral from maybe a patient that is, has mild DR and does not need referral. And of course, it's also supporting new diseases. The same issues that we see with diabetic retinopathy also exists with other conditions such as glaucoma, where insufficient screening is, where screening today is insufficient. So supporting new diseases via AI, such as glaucoma or cataract, can help provide holistic eye care, both at the level of the practitioner and the patient. I'd like to actually give a thank you to all the photos mentioned here, because they've been our biggest supporters from day one, and we would not have been able to build this technology without any of their support, right? And we would not be able to speak in today's conference without their support. So I'd like to just give a round of thank yous to everyone here. I would like to conclude by saying the current ways to detect diabetic retinopathy is perfectly suited for a world that does not exist. So I invite you to join us in changing that. Thank you so much.